Thanks for joining us at Right On Replicas, where we're proud to bring you the best scale model kit reviews on the planet. This review covers the Ghostbusters ECTO-1A. It's a 125 scale kit and a 2012 release from AMT number 750. Now this same kit is being re-released by Polar Lights as a kit number 958 in 2018, just in time for a Halloween gift giving. And it comes not only with either stickers or decals, but also a pre-painted slime figure. Now it's a 125 scale kit, as I mentioned, with a skill level 2 for intermediate builders, but with the stickers it should be easier for a beginning builder to make. Now it features 90 very detailed plastic pieces. They're molded in white with clear and chrome parts, and it comes with a complete arsenal for bogey collecting and containment, including electron cannons, interchangeable announcement boards, and decals. Now the original kit came with the decals to either make the ECTO-1 or the 1A, and this was a 1959 block-long Cadillac ambulance, and it has detailed cutting-edge ghost-busting body and technology with front and rear emergency light bars and flashers, and all the equipment needed to capture and contain those ethereal boogeymen. Now, also included is an illustrated instruction guide, and when you're done, it'll be about 10 inches long, 4.5 inches high, and 3.5 inches wide. Here are the contents of the kit, and as you can see, the chrome parts and wheels are bagged individually, and the decals are very colorful. You may want to use some setting solution for those because they're pretty big. But as you can see, everything is ready to go in this kit, and we're going to be using liquid cement for most of the construction, sometimes super glue for strength, and white glue for window type parts. Please remember, follow the manufacturer safety and use guidelines when using any of the products you see or hear mentioned in the review. The first thing that I did for this kit was to clean up the body with some minor parting lines and flash, and then give it a light coat of primer, followed by 3 coats of gloss white paint. And after that's dry, go ahead and apply the decals. As you see here, it's loaded with decals. Starting with those red tail fins, and use some of that setting solution to make sure that they stick and conform to these contours and panel lines. And they're pretty long, so I suggest using that. And as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. The decals are very nice to use. Just leave them in warm water for about 30 seconds and use plenty to put them into position. Next, I gave the grill a little of the black wash treatment. It's a 50-50 mix of paint and thinner, and just to give it a more realistic look. And then I added the strobe lights and the flashers to the front bumper, and then you can glue the bumper in and apply the ECTO-1 decal for the license tag in front. Now go ahead, turn the body over and put the trim on the pieces around the windshield, etc. You can use a chrome pen or some of the bare metal foil, and then put the windows into place, being careful not to get glue on them. I suggest you use either some of the crystal clear product or some white glue just to drop that into place. And once that's dried, you can go ahead and work on the light bar. Now the base part 103 has 3 sections, each containing 3 lights, and for the outside sets, I painted the lights turn signal amber, then red, then green, beginning with the outside working in. And then for the middle section, the lights are red, green, and red, and then glue the light bar cover, which is clear, to the base. Now glue the spotlight part 109 and the rear view mirror 108 together, and glue those to the body in position. Next, we can add the rear bumper, that's part 101, and the brake light lenses can be placed into the bezels and glued into place. And then there's the bullet turn signals. There's 2 on each side into the rear bumper area, and the rear bumper assembly can then be glued to the body. And use some chrome trim pieces there. There's 2 of them for accent, and then those are parts 112, and glue those into the holes on each side of the back of the car. Next, we can paint the sequential light. That's up on top, turn signals, as part 106, with some turn signal amber, and install it into the 2 holes there at the top and rear of the vehicle. Let's turn our attention to the interior. And first I painted the instrument panel. That's part 13, in the steering column and the wheel, and the entire interior tub a flat black color. And then the CB radio was painted white, and the radar monitor was painted gloss black. The cell phone, part 17, gets painted flat black with some white buttons, and I used a gel pen for highlighting those buttons. And once all those are painted and dried, they can be detailed with old gel pens or whatever, a small paintbrush. Now on the instrument panel, I painted the numbers white and the bezels silver color. The horn ring was painted silver, and then the top of the inside door panels was white. Seat inserts got a gray paint, and then the CB face was painted red, and the floor carpet painted with a gray paint as well, a flat gray. Well, what Ghostbuster vehicle wouldn't be complete without a computer on board? So I painted the CRT tube there, that's the big monitor, a gray, and then I gave the screen a light green tint. Now decal 25 is placed on the back of that, and then the keyboard numbers are dry brush with a little white paint to bring them out. As it turns out, the body of this car is about the easiest part, and now we're going to start working on the top rack, and that needs to be painted and assembled and detailed. And paint the right and left side of the carrier gloss black, that rack frame, and then the center section is gloss white, and the front and the back part 35 and 6, those are gloss black too. Now the storage tube top and bottom, they get glued together and painted red, gloss red, and the switch panel is painted white. Now the tank halves, they and the left tank end and the right tank end, they all get glued together and painted a gloss white with some black straps. And starting with the center carrier section, glue the right carrier side and the left side together, and then glue the carrier front and back into place onto the carrier center section. And on the right hand side, glue the storage tube assembly into place. On the left side of the carrier, we'll paint the 2 tanks yellow with some gloss black carrier bands, the straps there, and then on the left side only, paint the insides of those triangles white. The rear of the carrier, we painted the white painted tank into place, glued it into place there in the back, and then on the right and side of the center carrier section, you glue the switch panel into place there. And then glue the plastic accumulator, that's part 29, onto the deck on the back of the center section, and then it's painted gloss white. Now we can work on the center carrier section and paint the revolving light there, the gumball, on the highest square red, and then paint the 4 small lights around it green. Put the clear flasher dome on the revolving red light, and then put decal number 20 onto the left side of this square. Decal 17 goes onto the front side of the storage tube facing out, and decal 18 onto the rear side of the storage tube facing out. Then paint the antenna on the carrier side top silver. Now add decals number 19 to the left carrier side on those yellow tanks, and then decal 24 goes inside one of the triangles there. Put together the 2 halves of the electronic canisters, part 27. They need to be put together and then painted flat black, and then add decals 23, there's 2 of them, to the top of the electronic canister. and there's a flat part that goes towards each end. Okay, and then add decal 22. There's two of those to the bottom of the canister in the center. Now glue that assembly to the two dowels that are sticking up on the left side of the center carrier section. The warning lights are one piece, part 105, and they need to be painted from the beginning of the outer ends. You paint the outer end green, and then the next section between the dividers blue, and then the turn signal amber, and then you finish with a green. So glue the warning light then to the top of the carrier section. Now go ahead and assemble the Freon tank with the two halves there, and then glue that assembly to mount it behind the warning light. Then add decal 27 to the right end of the tank bottom and 21 to the front side of the top of the tank. Now glue the ectoplasm stability indicator dome, that's clear, into position behind the warning light. Paint the detector base, that's part 28, red, and glue the clear detector dome onto the detector base. Now glue that in place in front of the white tank. At the rear of the center carrier rack, you can see where the light bar base is positioned, and it has three sections, each containing three lights. For the outside sets, paint the lights turn signal amber, then red, then green, beginning with the outside each time. And for the middle section, paint the lights red, green, and red. Then glue the light bar cover, which is clear, to the light bar base, and glue that subassembly onto the top of the white tank. Now paint the big parabolic antenna white, gloss white, and there's a big black X in the framework on the interior there, and glue that to the center carrier section. And when that's ready and set, you can glue the entire carrier center section to the top of the vehicle. And then the directional flashers, use two of the four pieces there, part 111, and add those to the notches in the white tank. Then glue the light lens, those two pieces of the four, to the directional flashers. Glue the flashers then, part 111, to the front of the carrier assembly, and glue the light lenses to the directional flashers. Now add the braided hose, that's that chrome piece, part 113, from the hole in the left side of the end of the tank there to the rearmost hole down on the body of the vehicle. Now we can go back to some of the undercarriage work and assemble the four tires and the four inner wheels, that's part 20, and the four outer wheels, those are parts 102, and put those onto the chassis. And next you can glue the assembled interior into the body. Look for gluing points and scrape off any paint or chrome anywhere you're going to glue joints together. And then finish up and glue the assembled chassis into the body. Same thing, look for your glue points. And I painted the chassis flat black, and the exhaust and the rear axle, drive shaft, and the gas tank steel color. The transmission was painted aluminum, and the oil pan was white. Next, I glued the assembled interior to the body, and then I glued the assembled chassis into the body in that order. Now I added the upper electronic sign. There's two pieces, part 37 to the lower electronic sign, and then 38RT and L39LT. Those are the two pieces. Then paint both assemblies flat black and glue them to the supports on the left and right sides of the carrier rack. Then glue the power conduits. There's two pieces there. They're blue, after painting them light blue, and into position on the left side of the car. One last piece, the panoramic mirror, part 110, is installed, and that completes construction. And there you have it. Your ECTO-1A is ready to roll, and I can't think of a more appropriate vehicle than the Ghostbusters ECTO-1 to track down the ghosts and goblins that menace small town America, it seemed like, with this gorgeous 1959 Cadillac. Talk about repurposing a vehicle. Well, overall the construction is fairly simple. The devil's in the details, so to speak, and that's where this kit shines. You could do an incredible amount of detail work on top of what's already there. But there's other things that can be done. You know, a little extra attention to the seams on some of the tanks, and even replacing some of the kit parts with some electronic items, or even some special electronic wiring. These kits are still readily available, and you can find them online or at retailers, but there'll also be the new Polar Lights kit coming out for you to choose. But if I were you, I'd buy one and put it on my shelf. We hope you liked this detailed step-by-step special scale model kit review, and so that you don't miss any more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can find us on Facebook or our website rightonreplicas.com. Thanks.